guys, and welcome to today's Los Blancos podcast. Today we'll be discussing the Atletico Madrid game, in which a 1-1 draw, the most typical result at the Santiago Bernabeu between these two teams. Third year in a row, I believe it is 1-1 at this ground, and it's a game in which I think I'm very disappointed to walk away with it. With a 1-1 draw, because it felt like in that second half when the team rallied back and they stormed back and they looked like they were gonna regain the lead, they just couldn't find that second goal, and it really did frustrate us in the end. Atleti managed to weather that storm, and in the end it just feels like 2 points dropped against Atleti, and Barca play today against Sevilla, in a game which I don't see them dropping points, to be totally honest. So it's just more ground lost, and so I'm very disappointed after this game. It's very winnable. We created plenty of chances in that second half, plenty of good chances to go ahead and win the game, and we didn't. So, what are your reactions to the game as a whole?
Yeah, of course I'm disappointed. Of course it's even more disappointing, especially what happened on last week. How we won last week, then I'm sure we'd have been content with a draw on today, because the performance was bad in the first half and better in the second half. So there were some positives, but there's also the same more negatives that we have been speaking about all season. So there were some good moments, and of course there were some moments that we know the team is struggling on. So of course it's a disappointing night. The title race is officially on again. We squandered the opportunity, to extend our lead. So it's disappointing, but we just have to keep moving forward, and hopefully we can get our act together in at least the smaller games. We know that we're not good against the big teams, but at least in the smaller games, especially away from home, let's hope that we pick up 3 points.
Yeah, and this comes into the let's talk about the performance, right? And let's talk about why we dropped some points, because let's start with the defense. I thought overall the defense played quite well actually in this game. There were chances, and I think it's obviously a systematic issue, the fact that we concede so many chances, so many good chances. The fact is that Raul Asensio, Fran Garcia, even Tchouaméni had some really important and heroic interventions at the back. But the problem is we shouldn't have to have those interventions, right? You don't want to have those interventions at the end. If in an ideal situation, you don't want Raul Asensio sliding back and making a beautiful challenge on Simeone. That's last ditch, right? You don't want that to happen more often than not. So it's obviously a systematic issue that we have these opportunities go against us every single game. But overall, I thought the defense was much better in this game. I thought we defended a lot better, and I thought Tchouaméni's positioning was a lot better. I know he's going to get a lot of stick because the decision he made to make that stupid challenge on, who was it against? Who was it on? Was it against Simeone? I think it might have been. Whoever he made that challenge on to win the penalty. I think obviously he's going to get a lot of stick for that, but I thought overall he played quite well. I thought Asensio was fantastic. He really looked good. His pace as well, his recovery pace was amazing, and he really looks like a Real Madrid defender, right? With the fact that he can play on that island with his centre back partner, I think is such a good attribute to have as a Real Madrid defender, and he's really doing well right now. His form is fantastic, and it's must start from now until the end of the season. And so I'm very happy with Raul Asensio after this game. And then Fran Garcia, hopefully, first time I think Fran Garcia actually plays ahead of Ferland Mendy in one of these games. And I think he did really well. I thought defensively especially, I think he was really good. And hopefully that's enough to keep him in the squad against, Manchester City and, any other games that we play against big teams. I hope Fran Garcia plays at left back, because he's so much better than Ferland Mendy this season. And then I think overall the defense was much improved. Obviously the refereeing decision we'll talk about a little bit later, because I don't want to start the podcast with the refereeing decision, because I don't think I like to say how if you are relying on a refereeing decision to win a game, I think something's already gone wrong, right? And you don't want to be relying on that refereeing decision to go ahead and give you an extra 2 points or an extra 1 point in that situation. Refereeing decisions go your way and they go against you sometimes as well. So you've just got to take them as they come, and you've got to create those chances regardless of what the referee does. I know unfortunately the referee went against us, but in my opinion, we just got to move on and we've got to create better chances. We've got to make sure that we convert our chances as well. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the defense yesterday?
Yeah. The covering was well. I think Lucas and Fan had some iffy moments, especially Fan in the second half when Julian just got past him on the wing when he just dived in a bit too early. He had a couple moments like that, otherwise he was solid. The Ceballos, Valverde, Bellingham, Woutard, but there were some gaps in between the midfield and the attack. As always, because the Vinicius and Mbappe needs to do better in terms of that. They're jogging back, but they're jogging back a bit too slow. Rodrigo, I believe, was good.
He's getting better, I think.
Yeah, he did some good running to help us make 2 banks of 4. It's similar to what Ancelotti wanted Bale to do, in the 4-3-3 with the BBC. So Rodrigo unfortunately has that for him. And of course, the covering from the centre backs was nice. Germany in a sense, the covering was nice. I must admit that they did well. Good interceptions, good analyzing of the game, knowing when to go, when to stay. I'm satisfied with the defense. The only switch I'd like to see for the Manchester City game would be the Valverde going into the full-back position. That's the only switch.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the press. I mean, you kind of alluded to it there, but I wanna talk about that press because I thought it was quite poor in this game once again. The fact is that our press is completely incoherent, and you just can't. They're not very good at it. It does seem at times. I talked to you about this yesterday as well. After the game, I said how it does seem like under 12 football at some points where they're all gravitating towards the same ball. At different points, even if they're off the ball, even if they're chasing Atleti, they're all gravitating towards the same ball, and there's so many outlets for Atleti at every single point. It just seems like childish at points where you see Bellingham and Ceballos both get dragged by one player, and then they don't even win it back, and that player then goes ahead and switches it or something like that, and gets out of that bit of pressure, and suddenly it's a 4v4 in the defense again. And so I think it's once again this press needs to improve. It needs to keep improving. I think Mbappe is doing better in terms of tracking back. I think Vinny's doing better. He's working a little bit harder, but it's still not enough. We need more from them if they are going to press. If we are going to maintain and keep pressing and doing this. If we need to do that, and if Carlo feels like we're going to keep doing that, then we need a little bit more. We need to continue doing this, but. Right now, I mean, speaking about Bellingham, I think Bellingham is playing himself right into an injury right now. Same with Valverde. Both of them are playing themselves into injuries. Same way Rudiger went into an injury. I think it's really bad right now what we have to deal with, and suddenly where the rest period is going to come. It's not looking like there's many opportunities to rest the guys over the next coming weeks. If I quickly have a look at the Real Madrid's schedule for the next few weeks. We've got Man City in midweek, obviously. We've got Osasuna next week at El Salvador, and that's obviously not going to be a good game to rest these guys. Man City in the following week as well, and then Girona. Same thing. Girona is probably not a great place to rest them. Maybe it is because Girona's, I think, a probably easier game than a lot of these games. Then we've got Betis away from home again, not easy. Rayo at home, which maybe that's an opportunity. Villarreal, and I'm sure the Champions League schedule will come out if we make it past Manchester City. So the rest situation is bad, the pressing's bad. I mean, it's not looking great right now. I'm a bit concerned about this going into the Manchester City game, even if Manchester City look absolutely dog shit right now. And the way they played against Arsenal last week, and they played against Leighton Orient yesterday as well, and they looked really bad then as well. So, even if Man City's play that bad, they still pose a threat, and I'm worried. I'm worried because of that. I shouldn't be worried the way Man City are playing, but I am worried, and so I'm not excited about that game. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the press and the midfield as a whole?
Yeah, I don't think that we should be doing that in the biggest set of games for an extended period of time, because then we would consider a lot of chances consistently. I think it has to be in moments and in phases, maybe how we did it in 21-22 when we were thrilling the games, and we had Valverde and Camavinga and Ceballos and Modric when he was a bit younger on the pitch, and they can do a lot of pressing and had the energy to do it. Rodrigo and Vinicius when they were when Vinicius was especially doing a lot more defensive work this season. I'm not too sure what's going on. Last season he was better. It's difficult to analyze it, and it goes back to when the main discussion, well, will it work? Forget the attacking point of view. Will it work with Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Mbappe, and why they can't have all a good game together? It also comes down from defensive point of view. It's difficult. It's giving fans a lot of split opinions. And I think the more Vinicius and Mbappe continues to not defend, I think the biggest loser from that is Vinicius, because Mbappe has just came to the club, and Mbappe leaving will not happen. I think the one who has the highest chance of leaving the team is Vinicius, because of the money. He's the biggest name, and between him and Rodrigo, and Saudi would give him the higher contract compared to what they're going to offer Rodrigo. So I think that the more the Saudi was intensify and performances like this keep happening in terms of it gives fans the opportunity to say, wow, well, this isn't working out. One of them has to leave, and when the offers coming for Vinicius, they're going to be like, yeah, best we sell him, because then we can use the money to fix certain parts of the squad. And I think it's the bigger point of view I'm looking at. I think that's definitely a possibility between what's going on. And I know that it's a bit of a lot of thinking going into that statement, but I think it's the truth. Because I think one of the respected journalists, I can't remember his name right now, in Spain, said that had an offer coming for Mbappe, the answer will immediately be no from Madrid. But it's Vinicius, and the answer is, well, if he wants to leave, then we would open the door to him. I think, our fans are starting to think like that as well, because they know it's going to be difficult, to make this work from a defensive point of view, even sometimes from an attacking point of view, because, of course, we all know they occupy the same spaces. So I think what a lot of people are trying to say, if we at least win La Liga Champions League this season, then we got away with a lot of nonsense this year, because this is the worst Ancelotti has been in terms of the points after this amount of games since he came in, and we are still top, because Barcelona dropped a lot of points, and Atletico Madrid dropped a lot of points, but with the squad we should be doing a lot better, and the team should be doing a lot better. I think maybe for a coaching point of view, it might be easier for at least one of them to leave. I think fans are starting to maybe think like that as well, because all the points you gave is definitely correct. There's too many spaces. It's disjointed in terms of the pressuring. Sometimes in the attacking zone, one player isn't getting into the box. When they have the ball, the link up isn't as smooth. Only on counter attacks and fast transitions, it's really good. But when it comes to the build up, trying to get the low block beat, it's difficult. Not just in terms of the defense, but from the attacking point of view as well. So I think that's my piece on that.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke about this last week after the Espanyol game, And your point about the counterattacks being much better, I think it definitely proves one thing, is the fact that counterattacks have to be a bit more surgical. They have to be a bit more precise. They have to be more like, you have to be like perfect with your passes, right? And that kind of proves to me that these guys need a little bit more tactical discipline. They need a little bit more of the coach saying, "You stand there, you stand there, and you stand there." I think at the start I was thinking these are intelligent players. They're gonna work out themselves. And as this season has gone on, I think it's becoming abundantly more clear that they're gonna need some more tactical advice and tactical discipline and tactical, just they need to know where they're going. They need to know what they're doing. And right now they don't know that. I think a lot of the times, the worries which they're going to get into each other's ways is definitely getting more and more prominent. It feels like when Vinicius is present, Mbappe doesn't want to take that role of being the best in the team. He doesn't want to take that, take the game by the scruff of the neck. But the heat's definitely being turned up on Vinicius Junior right now, because, like you said, the Saudi offer came in. He said no. He changed his profile picture on Instagram, stuff like that. But he needs to prove it now, right? And whenever Vinny went out in the last few months, and it was just Mbappe and Rodrigo, the team looked a lot smoother. I'm just gonna say it does look a lot smoother. It looks a lot better, and it looks a lot more. It just works a lot better. It feels a lot better. And obviously that's something that happens with the fact that there's more midfielders. There's less of a toll, and so it has to be said that it does look better with the Vinny out. And I'm sure we haven't had Mbappe out too many times, but I'm sure it would be the same. And so suddenly that pressure's getting turned up on Vinicius, but I'm confident that Vinicius can shut them up, because right now it's a bad patch of form for Vinny. But we've seen Vinny go through these bad patches of form and come out the other end even better. So I'm not worried about Vinicius in terms of his individual form. I'm worried about the collective, them playing together. Right now, yeah, like I said, they need a bit of tactical advice, tactical discipline, but they're not going to get that from Carlo Ancelotti, right? This is the whole thing about Carlo Ancelotti and Vinicius Junior. He gave him so much tactical freedom that Vinny worked it out, right? And suddenly you're taking those freedoms away. It seems a bit counterintuitive, right? But for me, I think it's the right move to make. Is to make sure that you try and give them a bit more tactical instructions, give them a bit more of a plan to know where they are. Rodrigo yesterday, perfect. I thought he was fantastic. He did his role perfectly well. He took on Samuelino and Javi Gallan every single time, and he constantly cooked them, and got us the goal, got us a few chances, and he was fantastic. And he's been really, really consistent, because he is following the tactical ideology that he's been set, right, which is staying on the right, staying wide, spreading the defense, and making sure that there's a bit more space for these guys in the middle to play with, right? And it's working for Rodrigo. He's been the most consistent this season, in my opinion, out of the three, right? And hopefully Carlo Ancelotti can spot that, which obviously this hope is now less hopeful. I'm not banking on this at all, but hopefully Carlo Ancelotti can spot how Rodrigo, yeah, he's limited by playing on the right wing. He's not expressing himself the same way he would be on the left, but he is doing a role for the team. He's bringing the team good value by being on the right. He's bringing Mbappe and Vinicius into play, and he's helping them do more, be able to do more, at least give them that ability to do more, which obviously they're not doing right now. But hopefully Carlo Ancelotti can spot that. Hopefully Carlo Ancelotti can say, Vinny, stay on the left. And then when Vinny's on the left, Mbappe, you stay in the middle, provide that target, provide that bit of threat. And I know it's not as simple as that. I'm not a coach for a reason. I'm not the coach of Real Madrid for a reason. But that it does seem like this team needs just a little bit more tactical instructions in the attack. And and this also leads into the point about Bellingham. The team looks so much better when Bellingham's bombing into the box. It just does. And I don't want that to be the case, because Bellingham's so fantastic at everything, but the team is so much better when Bellingham's in the box and giving them that threat, because it draws defenders. And I think yesterday something valuable would have been to have a striker a striker in the box to occupy a few defenders, right, and make sure that Vinny had a little bit more space. Once it turned into a 1v1 between Marcos Llorente and Vinicius started getting into the game, right, and he started playing the game, and so I feel like having Bellingham bomb the box is much better for us as a team. And I think this also feeds into the idea that maybe Endrick should be getting a few more minutes, because as much as he was not great in possession so far this season, he definitely brings more of a threat. He takes his shots, he makes sure he gets his shots off, and he will occupy a few defenders, right? And so I think having that target is also an important thing in our team, and hopefully Carlo Ancelotti, there are solutions to have in this attack. There are solutions. You've got three of the best attackers in the world, along with one of the best midfielders in the world, and along with some of the best young players in the world in Guler and Endrick. There are solutions. There are solutions to be had. You and Carlo Ancelotti is persisting, right? And so for me, it's the wrong move by Carlo Ancelotti to keep persisting when it's not working. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe he keeps going and it suddenly clicks like it did last year with Vinicius. But for me, I would change things up, give something a new idea, and that's my little rant over about the attack. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the attacking structure right now?
Yeah, I think Rodrigo is doing his part to make it work, especially on the right wing. But one of them has to be a bit more centrally when they get to the byline. Vinicius, Bellingham does it well when he can, but it's too much for him sometimes. You can't expect him to do it all the time. But one of them, Vinicius and Mbappe, when the other get to the byline or in a position to cross the ball, they have to do a bit more to make those movement into the near post, get forward into the spaces. I don't think we see that enough. Only when Bellingham was there, which helped created the goal on yesterday. So yeah, I am a bit disappointed by the structure this season. But I just think that we just have to work with it and make it work. Not just in the small games like against Pachuca or in the Copa del Rey when Vinicius and Mbappe did well, but also it has to work out in the big games as well. We play Barcelona and the Camp Nou. We play Manchester City at the Etihad. That's our two biggest games this season. We have to make it work there in those specific moments. So that's my opinion. It can be fixed, but if it's not fixed, then of course the pressure will intensify on one player, and we know who that player is going to be. So yeah.
Yeah, let's move on to the big talking point. And I'm sure if you go to Spain, if you go to Madrid, you go to the radio stations, they're all talking about it. And they're on the newspapers this morning. They're all going to be talking about it for the next week or so. They're all going to be discussing it, and it's going to be the refereeing decisions. Listen, for me, I'm not a ref like you, but I do think that it was a 50-50 decision in that situation for the penalty. Shermany makes a stupid decision by giving the referee the opportunity to give that a penalty, but I don't think there's enough there for them to overturn that decision. But the main thing that annoyed me was the fact that they showed the referee two replays, the VAR, they showed them two replays, and then later on in the game, they showed a replay to us. Once the decision's already been made, they showed a replay to us that showed that Shermany had made little to no contact. And that really annoyed me, because why do I need to see that? I don't really care. I'm not the one making the decision. I'm not the one that I'm going to go to Twitter and talk about it later. The guys who are watching are going to talk about it on Twitter, but I'm not the one making the decision in the moment. So why am I being shown this and the referee isn't being shown this in the moment, right? And there was the audio being shared later on that said the referee just says, "I'll just go ahead and give the penalty anyway." I swear that's not the correct protocol. I think maybe it's just the Premier League, but I think if it goes to this situation, I think the defender has the benefit of the doubt over the attacker, right? Or am I
Yeah, That's correct.
Yeah, so I mean, for me, I just don't think. I mean, along with some of the other stupid decisions that the referee made, I just think refereeing in Spain is the worst. It's by far worse than England. In England, there's issues. There's a lot of issues in English refereeing, but the some of the decisions they make with such confidence, it's just so like I just don't understand it. When people complain about Real Madrid and the referees, and then Real Madrid try and change the refereeing situation, and then they complain about that as well. It's just it just makes no sense to me. The refereeing in Spain is totally abhorrent, and it needs a total revamp. But it's not going to happen because that's going to cost a bit too much money for Mr. I forgot his name, Mr. Tebas. So unfortunately, that's the situation right now. But what are your thoughts on the refereeing decisions?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I don't want to spend much time talking about it, but the only thing I would add is that you can't really make a decision with a still image. Even the top pundits say that the still image, if you make decisions of still images, then there are going to be a lot of red cards and penalties for things that's not good penalties, red cards, yellow cards, etc. So that's my point on that. But in terms of that, you basically hit the nail on the head. But my main point is to make a decision of a still image, and then you can't really do that. So that's my point in relation to that.
Yeah, I mean the whole system needs a revamp in Spain, but they're not going to do it, unfortunately, and it's a shame because Spain is meant to have the highest standards of coaching, of refereeing, of all of this in the whole world. Everyone's meant to look up to Spain and say that that's where we're going to get to, and unfortunately, the refereeing just doesn't follow, and it's just absolutely pathetic. Every single referee. I don't know why I should know. I don't want to know the referee's name. I don't care about the referee's name. I don't need to know that, but I do know that. I do know every single referee's name in Spain because of these stupid decisions that put their names in the papers. Right? I don't need to know that. I don't care about it. I just want this referee to be good at their job and not be in the headlines. But that's never the case, right? And people that are complaining about VAR is totally stupid because I think VAR is an absolute necessity in football. You have this in so many other sports. You have it in NFL, you have it in NBA, you have it in cricket, you have it in baseball, you have it in tennis, you have it in every other sport. So it's an absolute necessity. But the way that these referees use it is just not good at all, and there's so many biases. I just don't think it's 2 weeks in a row we've been fucked over by the referee. But what can you do? It's just unfortunate, right? And that's just the situation.
Yeah, you're correct. But like you said, we should have done much better, regardless. But the sad part about it is that I'm sure he said that the decision did affected us, which is understandable. These things do play a part in the confidence and the morale during the game. So it was a bit disappointing. So, regardless, I think had we started the game better, then we wouldn't have been in that situation at least. We may have had a goal in the first half, at least, but like we said, it is what it is for this game in specific. Not much was done, and it's just a bit disappointing.
Yeah, and that's all I have to say on the referee because I don't want to make a huge thing about it because we get decisions our way as well. We benefit from the referees as well, but it's not a Real Madrid Barcelona thing. It's a refereeing thing, and it needs to improve no matter who it's for, right? And unfortunately, that happens every week, whether it's in the Barca game or it's in the Real Madrid game. It happens every single week. It just needs to improve, and that's just the bottom line of it. And so yeah. I mean, the positives of this game, I thought we already mentioned Rodrigo played really good. Asensio played really good. I was a bit worried Asensio going into this game. Maybe he was a bit too aggressive for these type of games, but he was composed. He was really good with his decision making, and it makes me a lot more confident going into the Man City game, knowing that he's there against Haaland. That'll be a good matchup to see what happens there. But hopefully he does well against Haaland midweek as well. I thought Ceballos was brilliant in the second half. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Controlled the game minute 45 to 90, and he was really, really, really good. So his form just continues to be fantastic. Camavinga's obviously back now as well, so that's another option we can have in the midfield. But maybe I wouldn't say, apart from moving Fede to right back, I wouldn't say Camavinga can come back into this lineup. But obviously, like you said, if Fede goes to right back, then Camavinga comes into the midfield. That would be ideal. But apart from that, I thought Lucas Vazquez was fine actually. I mean, there was one giveaway in the first half where he gave away to Samuelino, but apart from that, I thought it was completely fine.
He was fine against Pachuca as well. Because he was early tested. Against City he's going to be tested.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take a chance because we have enough sample size to show that the bad performances outweigh the good performances, unfortunately. Regardless, he could have played like he did last year against Barcelona on yesterday. I would still want Valverde at fullback because this season at least we've seen enough to show us that his performances and defensive work hasn't been great enough. It's okay when the game is a bit open and it's like minute 60 and he comes in. Against Liverpool, he came in and did well actually. When we lost that game, he came in and did well. That's what he should be doing. I don't mind him in the squad to do things like that. It's just starting games. How many times after the concentration, of course, the first goal, the first, second goal, more than twice, more than 3 times, if I'm being honest. But it happened so many times that we can't afford to give up an early goal. I think Valverde really comes into his own in the second half as well in midfield. That's when Madrid actually wake up. So I don't mind bringing him on like minute 60 and putting Valverde in midfield. It works. I have no issue with Lucas Vazquez on the pitch, but to start games when we need those awareness and the game is tight, then you lose chances. But when the game is open, he does well. Because their players coming, it's more 1v1 and 2v1, etc. With defense versus attack, he will have numbers because he will the covering is more fast-paced. It's difficult to explain what I mean, but basically on those low blocks or when he has to defend crosses or balls in behind the defense, it's not that good. But I think he would be a good substitute and he can add energy to the game and put Valverde in midfield, but not to start the game. Because it gives you like an extra tool. If you have Valverde at fullback playing a bit deeper and not really making those advanced movements, you can have Fangas make those advanced movements, to kind of balance the game a bit, And then second half, you might want to settle things down, have Valverde in midfield, maybe you can jump Camavinga to left back, maybe bring on Mendy, then put Lucas in fullback, But I don't think Ancelotti sees it like that, but I hope he does, because I think that's what we need.
Yeah, I mean, Lucas Vazquez is fine as a backup, but the moment he goes into the starting role, that's when things fall apart. And unfortunately, that's what's happened this season. Apart from that, I mean, we didn't make any subs, which was really annoying. The fact that, you could tell the players are starting to get gassed. And, Carlo just didn't bring any subs in. So, poor use of subs once again.
I have an answer for that, to be honest. Because he's not going to take out Vinicius and Mbappe or Bellingham before minute 80 if you're trying to win a game. Those 3 are not coming out. So the options are Rodrigo and the 2 midfielders. Rodrigo was having a good game, so I mean, it's understandable they leave Rodrigo on the pitch a bit longer, so that's one. So it's basically just the midfielders. Are you really going to take out Valverde? That's maybe what he's thinking. Ceballos, who's having a good game. Valverde is essential to our team, so the only options is maybe Lucas Vazquez and Fran Garcia. And then Ceballos, because the easiest sub to make is Ceballos for Modric. And then maybe bring on a midfielder and bring on a midfielder for Lucas to play Valverde at full back or play Camavinga at left back. So that's the only options because our midfield is thin because Germany is at centre back. So, and of course Tony retired, so it's just Modric and Brahim. But Brahim would have to either replace Bellingham or Rodrigo. And it's difficult to make that substitution when they're both playing well. And Rodrigo would of course be the first one to come off, so Brahim would come on late because Rodrigo was playing well. So it depends. If Rodrigo is having a bad game, he's going to come off early. If he's having a good game, then he stays on the pitch, and then the substitution is limited. So I understand why, but because of the star power and the star names and the lack of midfield, that the only option is to take out a fullback coming on a midfielder, and then make a switch from either Diaz for Rodrigo or Diaz for Bellingham, which is of course Rodrigo and Bellingham are better than Diaz, but sometimes you just have to make a switch and make a mistake. Because it's only like 3 substitutions that you can really make. Because if I'm Ancelotti, I'm also not substituting Mbappe or Vinicius for Endrick. And unfortunately, after Adegola performed a bit poor, he had an okay performance at the Ghani's, but not up to the mark. I guess it's a bit more difficult for them to play that game over Vinicius or Mbappe, and then it's difficult to take off a midfielder now and have one of the attacking players on because it's going to hurt you in transition. So I think the easiest sub to make is Rodrigo and Bellingham after minute 80 when they're both tired from all the defensive work when it can be understandable, but I understand I did not. And it all comes down to squad planning as well, but it also comes down to the fact that we cannot think of Vinicius or Mbappe of the game, or even Bellingham sometimes, and to an extent Rodrigo when they're all playing well. So the only option is to maximize the abilities by taking out a fullback or a direct midfield swap.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to get those fresh legs in though, right? And I understand what you're saying about the you can't top any of them off, but when you can tell that Rodrigo's running out of juice, it did feel like at one point Rodrigo was running out of juice when Mbappe, it just felt like things were slowing down for him as well. I think you can take him off, you can switch them about, and hopefully they can other guys can make a difference. And obviously Lucas Vazquez I think should have come off a lot sooner, just for the benefit of the team. But yeah, apart from that, I understand what you're saying. All right, you can't sub off Vinny, you can't sub off Bellingham, you can't sub off Mbappe for the most part as well. So obviously that you're restricted, but I think you have to do what the game demands. Simeone's not afraid to sub anyone off. Griezmann will be subbed off. His own son will be subbed off. Alvarez will be subbed off if he needs to, and so I think you just look at in the opposite dugout and you see a guy who's not afraid to sub off anyone. So yeah, I think I understand what you're saying, but I think you have to do what the game demands, right? And so I would have subbed off a few of those guys a lot sooner than Carlo did at 80 minutes, right? And at that point, how much difference can those subs make is my question. But yeah, apart from that, I mean, I've got nothing else to add about this game against Atleti. It's a disappointing result. It gives Barcelona an opportunity in the late game today to claw back on us. And this looks like the first time in about 8 years, since 16-17 that La Liga actually has a title race, which is crazy to think about, right? But apart from that, every single year has practically maybe 2021 had a pretty good title race until the end actually. But apart from that, it's been a long time since La Liga has title races because one club normally implodes before the end of the year. So it does look like it's going to be gearing up for a proper showdown right until the end. And so that's not what we wanted. We wanted a nice simple path till the end, but these last 2 weeks have kind of ruined us there. Have you got anything else to say about this game or the Man City game coming up?
Yeah, I think we know how this game. I think we know how the Manchester City game will be. I think we know that regardless of how things go, how Manchester City play, they're going to have the ball a lot of times, and we're going to utilize our transition. In some moments of the game, we're going to have the ball, but most of the times, Manchester City will dominate. But I think that's in, let's say, like I said yesterday, from minute 55 to minute 75, or even to minute 80, they're going to be a spell when we're going to be doing really well. And then before that, after that, it's difficult to really say. But for the City game, I just want to see how they play fullback, and maybe hopefully for a big game for once this season we can actually get a win. It doesn't matter what others will say. Maybe if we win, or City is not having a good season, we just have to win this game. We have to do well, and hopefully we get the win in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Man City game, hopefully we win that, because it's definitely a big one. We don't want to be getting knocked out of the Champions League at this stage, even before the round of 16. But obviously it's going to be a difficult game, and we're going to make sure that it's going to be difficult at the Etihad. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we win. We're better than Manchester City. I'm confident in that, but I'm not confident in an actual match. And so that's where
I just want the tie to be over with as soon as possible. If we win, that's to be good for us, and then I would say we are back to be conservative for the Champions League. And if not, then we just have to focus on winning La Liga. So that's it.
Yeah, and we won't be playing Liverpool or Barcelona until the final. So that's until June to figure our shit out if we beat Manchester City. So that's a good opportunity for us. But hopefully we win midweek. I might do a review on Wednesday if I have the time. But if not, I'll see you guys next week. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.